Hi, I want to take the time to go over the steps to buying a home. I'd like to start by introducing myself. I am Theresa, and this is my brokerage with my husband and my daughter. Let's start with me. I have been selling residential real estate for more than 24 years. I work with clients with residential property from 1 to 4 units. We're able to help anyone who's relocating to anywhere in the 50 states. I work with senior communities, new construction, VA buyers. I specialize in people going through a life-changing experience. I specialize in probate, trust, and divorce sales. I love what I do. I love, 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 love it. And I'm excited to share this process with you. Let's start with the other M, because we are the M&M team. This is my husband, Leroy. He is a honorable, dedicated, wonderful husband, father, grandfather, and 20-year veteran. He served in the United States Marine Corps, and he just helps me with everything. This is my daughter. We call her the S with the M&Ms, with the S, so she's the S. And she's been selling residential real estate for more than 14 years. Her experience, she has credit management history. She has experience as an assistant track and field coach. She is our marketing director. She also owns her own fitness company. She specializes in working out. If you want to work out, she's the person that you want to talk to. On Instagram, she is Glenn Spin. So look her up. Our mission is to put our clients first, to provide you with a positive real estate experience. We want to show you compassion, to listen to you, and always treat you with the utmost respect. And we always excel. We go above and beyond everything in customer service. Our character, number one, is honesty. We are going to put your needs first. We provide professionalism to everyone in their home sale journey. We are excellent communication, delivery. We stay in touch with all of our clients. We are strong at negotiation. And you know what? We are a lion when it comes to just helping and fighting for you as the buyer. Let's talk about why work with me. First of all, I currently serve on the California Association of Realtors Board of Directors. That is one of our largest state trade association. I am also the district vice president for the Women's Council of Realtors of California for 2024 and 2025. I am also on the board of directors for the California Association of Black Real Estate Professionals. We call it CABREP. I'm active in the real estate community, and I hold several real estate designations and certifications. What you see on the screen is just a few. The one I'm most proud of is real estate negotiation expert and the Realtor brand. I am proud to wear the Realtor brand, to be called a Realtor, because we are set apart from the average agent. We are held to a higher standards. We have more training, and we are involved more on the political side. We actually know what's going on. We attend meetings in Sacramento. We attend meetings in Washington, D.C., all while fighting for our property owners, private property rights, for fair housing. We fight for our landlords. We fight for our tenants. We literally are involved with everything. Any bill that's related to housing or the housing market, trust there are realtors who are involved and they have a say and they have a seat at the table. I belong to my local Pacific West Association of Realtors. I've endorsed by the C to EX endorsed, and what that means, again, additional training. All of these letters and acronyms that you see here means I've had training well above the average person. I am certified in probate and trust. I am a specialist, but I'm not gonna stop tooting my horn, okay? I deliver exceptional knowledge and experience. This is just a few of my clients' reviews. You can read them. If you want to find out more about me, you may Google me. You can check out my reviews on Zillow, Realtor.com, Facebook, Google. I'm literally everywhere. We provide service, information, knowledge, and guidance. When you select myself and my company to represent you in any buyer's transaction, we know that getting the process right is crucial. There's a lot more than putting together a transaction than just opening doors and doing paperwork. First of all, you got to find the right house. We have to negotiate the price. Then we have to help you arrange financing, negotiate, we have to analyze the comps, determine the affordability and the local knowledge. Most recently, our state association just introduced 67 new and revised forms, disclosures, things that we need. And so it is my job to explain that to you. The market shifts constantly, sometimes even by the day. It's important that we start the process knowing that things can change quickly. So we have to be ready to make a move when we find your perfect home or the home that's 98% perfect. Let's talk about some market factors. First of all, let's talk about the price. Home pricing. There's a difference between what the seller asks and what buyers are paying. We watch both to ensure that you as the buyer, you're able to get the best outcome. Now let's talk about inventory. Unsold inventory index. Housing inventory indicates whether we're in a buyer's market, meaning there's a lot of houses for sale, or whether we're in a seller's market, there's not enough houses for sale. Or if we are in a balanced market, everything is balanced. Well, I'm gonna tell you as of today that I am doing this on August the 4th, 2024, and it's 8:30 p.m. We are in a housing shortage. We do not have enough inventory. There are far more buyers than there are homes to sell. Days on the market. Days on the market, the median days on the market. How long are homes taking to sell? This is an indicator of the shift that may be coming. A longer time could mean that things are slowing down, and a shorter time could mean that it's speeding up. Right now, I can tell you that homes are staying on the market just a little bit longer, not necessarily because things are slowing down, but because of the interest rates. The interest rates are going up and up and up and up daily. I remember when I did a refinance back in 2000, I got a 2.5 interest rate. And I remember having clients back then, and they told me, oh, Theresa, we're going to wait for the market to slow down. We're going to wait for the prices to drop. Things are too high. Well, guess what? The houses prices didn't drop, but what happened? Interest rates went up. So I guarantee you the people that are looking now, that were looking then, wish they had bought then. List to sale. Sales list to price ratio. And we look for trends. The sellers are asking for this price, and what's the average to what it's selling for. In today's market, the homes are selling for more than the listed price. For example, I just closed on a property where the listed price was 1.2 million and it sold for 1.350. Interesting, right? It is the market will tell you what the home is worth. And to these buyers, that home was worth $150,000 over the listed price. Interest rates is another factor. Lower rates means more affordability. Back when I had my 2.5 interest rates, that means I could have bought a lot of house. Not that I'm selling, not that I'm moving, but I could have bought more than I can today when the rates are around 6%. Think about that. The continuing trend of historically low interest rates means that buying a home was more affordable than it's been in the past. So think about that now. Let's talk about buyer agency. And I want you to understand what that means. First of all, it means these four things right here. Fidelity. As your agent, we're bound by ethical guidelines. We're committed to being honest with you and therefore throughout the process. Fiduciary. We have an obligation to hold your legal best interests at heart, and we must act in good faith and honesty on behalf of you as our client. Disclosures. We're required to disclose any pertinent facts or information that pertains to your home buying process and confidentiality. We must safeguard your personal, financial, and other confidential information to protect both your privacy as well as your negotiating positions. We don't tell secrets, not at all. Buying a home can be one of the most exciting adventures in your life. It can be incredible, complex, it can be stressful. And then the seller of the home is going to have an agent that's going to represent them. I'm going to represent you as your buyer's agent, and we're here to do the same for you. We're going to guide you through the process. We're going to protect your interests. See how many times I've said that? Are you getting to understand the pattern now? As realtors, we're held to a higher standard than someone who's just a licensed agent. My team and I, we're here to support you every step of the way. What we're going to do is we're going to look at homes together. We're here to help you find the perfect home that fits your lifestyle and your budget. And we're here through negotiations, through contracts, through escrow and closing. By law, as your realtor, we have your best interest in mind from the moment we start working together until long after you move in. We never, ever leave you. We are together forever. Let's talk about the agents who are involved with the transaction. Let's start with the listing agent. The listing agent is someone who represents the seller and they work for their best interest. You may meet the listing agent when you go to an open house. That listing agent is there showing the home for their seller. Remember that. They are there for their seller. Their job is to sell the house. The buyer's agent, which is me, I am the agent that works on your behalf as the buyer. I am there for you. My sole purpose in life is to help you get the best possible rate, terms, negotiation, price, everything. I am there for you. Now, there may come a time when we will be in a dual agency representation. So this could be a time when I am going to represent the seller of a property that you would like to view or purchase. So for example, I have a listing, it just came on the market. I know that this property will fit all of your needs. And of course, I'm going to show it to you. I'm going to share it with you and I'm going to tell you about it. So in this case, if that ever happens, I'm going to disclose this fact to you. I'm going to present you with what's called a dual agency form that clearly states that I am representing both parties. And if you decide to submit an offer, both sides, buyer and seller, would have to consent to dual agency moving forward. Otherwise, another agent would be assigned to represent you. Speaking of another agent, because I am a broker, I'm a broker owner, I have a total of 10 agents. Another agent in my brokerage could have a listing that they have that I think you may like. Even though I am representing you solely as the buyer and they are representing the seller solely as the seller, because we're under one brokerage, it's still called a dual agency. And again, I have to let you know that. In a dual agency where I am representing both parties, I'm representing the buyer and I'm representing the seller, I become a neutral party. I can't disclose either party's position, motivation, confidential information. I must remain neutral because I can't tip the scale because I am representing both parties. Now, it also may be possible that I may have another buyer who's interested in the same property as you. Again, I may have a listing that I've shown you as my buyer. I've also shown it to another buyer. And in this case, we're going to treat everybody honestly, ensuring your confidential information is never shared. But it's important that you know that it could be dual agency representation. Now we're going to talk about customer or client and what's the difference. They sound the same, but they are very different. And let me show you why. Customer or client. If you are a customer, we maintain loyalty to the seller's needs. We tell the seller all that they want to know about you. Keep information about the seller confidential. We focus on the seller's property, provide just the material facts. Only provide price information that support the seller's listing price. Protect the seller. You get the pattern here, right? Negotiate on behalf of the seller. Attempt to solve problems to the seller's advantage and satisfaction. That is the customer. If you are a client, remember, I'm representing you as the buyer, just you, nobody but you. Pay full attention to your needs. Tell you all that they know about the seller. Keep informed about your information, keeping your information confidential. Focus on the choices that satisfy your needs. Provide material facts and professional advice. Provide price counseling based on comparable properties and their professional insight. Protect and guide you. Negotiate on your behalf and attempt to solve problems to your advantage and satisfaction. Remember, we have a client realtor relationship. So I'm representing you. Now you say, what's the difference? How do I get to be a client? I'm so glad you asked that question. Let's talk about it. We're going to enter into an exclusive buyer agency client relationship. And I'm going to explain what that means. The most important is we are in a relationship. We follow your lawful instructions with regard to the transaction and our working relationship, loyal, obligated to act solely in your best interest, disclose full and honest disclosure of all information. Confidentiality will not reveal your confidential information during the transaction and beyond. Accounting, prompt accounting of monies, documents as part of the transaction, fiduciary care, protection from foreseeable risk, and recommend expert advice or assistance when your needs exceed my expertise. There's always someone that knows the answer that we need. So let's talk about how do we get into this exclusive relationship. I don't know if you're aware at the time that this video is being watched by you, but not too long ago, NAR was involved in a lawsuit. It started a few years ago where the sellers said they didn't know that they were paying their buyer's agent. And they decided they didn't want to do that. They felt that the buyer's agent should be paid by the buyer, and they didn't want to do that. They also didn't like the fact that in the multiple listing, that's where all the information is shared between realtors and everyone who's looking for a home, who has a property to sell, it all went dumped in there. There was an offer of compensation to the buyer's broker in there. They didn't like that. In the NAR settlement, after the lawsuit, NAR said, we're gonna take that offer of compensation out of the multiple listings. You can still have that conversation with your buyer, seller, but it will be between them. The brokers are out of it. And you must have your buyer sign a buyer's representation agreement before you go and show a home. What does that mean? That means this is how we're going to get into our client relationship. When you and I go out to see a home, we will have signed this buyer representation and broker compensation agreement. Now, before signing this agreement, it's going to reflect the terms that we're going to talk about in just a moment. For example, it's going to talk about the representation period. If you can see on this form, the representation period is for not to exceed 3 months. So this gives us a chance to work together, see how we like each other, see if you like my red dress that I'm wearing, and we will continue and shop together until you say, Theresa, I don't like that red dress. I don't want to work with you anymore. So that's enough time for us to make that decision. But I know that we're going to fall in love with each other and we're going to work together and we're going to continue to the end and help you find your home. Now, this buyer representation agreement, it can be exclusive or it can be non-exclusive. We're going to get together and we're going to talk about the difference and what works for us. The example that I give, that in an exclusive relationship, I'm only dating you. I'm not dating nobody else but you. And that's what I love to do, is date you. In a non-exclusive relationship, I can date you today and I can date someone else tomorrow. It just depends on, I like you because I go to you with this restaurant and I have steak and potatoes. And then when I go with someone else, I go to this restaurant because they have cheesecake. So we will discuss the type of representation we're going to have. Then we're going to talk about the property types. What kind of property are we looking for? We're going to talk about that. The location. Are we going to work together by counties? Or are we going to work together by cities? Whatever it is, we're going to talk about it. Are there any other additional preferences? Are there any properties that are going to be excluded from the representation? And then down here, notice it says broker's compensation. The amount or rate of real estate commission is not fixed by law. They are set by each broker individually and may be negotiable between the buyer and the broker. And then there's another form that we're going to look at. Remember, you and I are going to negotiate that number, not the seller, not the seller's broker, but that is a conversation that you and I are going to have. See right here, it says buyer's obligation to pay broker and how much. All of those things will be settled before we go out and look at property. And just as I said over there, I'm going to say it again over here. Compensation remains fully negotiable. As realtors, I must abide by the rule of the code of ethics and have a clear and transparent discussion with you about my compensation. And by doing this, this allows us to be transparent. Written agreements applies to both in-person and live virtual home tours. Okay, so remember, this is a form that we are going to go over. And here's a little secret. Just like I'm sitting here going over this with you, if anyone attempts to want you to sign something that's not complete, not filled in, that's blank, that's for longer than the 3 months, you happen to go to an open house and they're like, here, sign here, sign here. If you're going to an open house and You don't know me yet, you're going to an open house, or even if you do know me and we're working together, you do not sign anything if you're just going to the open house, you're asking questions, and you're asking the agent about their services. Don't let anyone tell you anything different, okay? Now, transparency of compensation. Remember over there, I told you we're gonna have that conversation and we're gonna agree what that looks like. Providing you with valuable support, strategic negotiation, guidance, and resource is what's likely to be your most expensive purchase. It's important to me, it's important to my business. Our exclusive buyer representation agreement, remember I told you, we have exclusive and we have non-exclusive. I gave you the difference of both. In this example, we're talking about the exclusive version. It outlines the terms of our working relationship. It includes the fee for service that will be due from the buyer at closing. And here are 3 scenarios of what could happen. And you'll be informed prior to touring property of all 3. Scenario number 1, yes, there is a full cooperating offer of compensation from the seller. You say, well, Theresa, how do you know? It's not in the MLS, it's not anywhere. Guess what? I have to call the agent and ask the question. How about that? I say, is your seller cooperating with the buyer's broker? Uh-oh, let's see if I can go back. There we go. That's scenario number 1. Scenario number 2, when I make that phone call, the listing agent says, no, there is no cooperating offer of compensation from the seller. It could happen. I have to tell you. And then number 3, yes, there's a partial cooperating offer of compensation from the seller. And when I say cooperating, that just means that the seller is willing to cooperate with the buyer. Remember, the brokers are no longer in that mixture. The cooperation is from the seller with the buyer. You guys cooperate together on that aspect. The brokers are out of that portion. And we'll talk about it. You'll know exactly what it means, what it looks like. And then we have certain disclosures that coincide with which of these scenarios apply to us. Okay? And we'll go into more details. Right now, I just want you to have an overview. Partnering together, this is my role. My role is to lead you with the best interests in mind throughout this process while remaining open and honest. Notice I keep continually talking about open, honest communication, consulting with you, relationships, helping you make informed decisions, resolving issues, and homes that's going to be scheduled, that's going to meet your criteria. We're going to align with the best possible going forward strategy that you're most comfortable with. Your role is to have fun. This is an exciting process. Enjoy the process. When I purchased my first home, I was excited. When I purchased my current home, I was over the moon. And to this day, I've been in my current home now well over 20 years. I still enjoy pulling up into my garage. I love, 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 love it. And I want you to have that exact same experience. Your role right here is to respond to all requests quickly, whether it's the lender, if it's a probate, it could be the attorney, me as your agent. Avoid making large purchases. Don't incur any new debt. We're going to talk about this again. Don't quit your job. Don't deposit large sums of cash without first talking to your lender, and avoid scheduling time away leading up to the closing. That could cause the closing to be delayed. And lastly, perform your due diligence. Okay? Moving right along. It's not about finding the house. It's about finding the home, that perfect place that you can call home. 90% of our home buyer searches start online. This is my website. I want you to go there. I want you to look at it. I want you to be deeply involved with my website. The reason why is when you're involved with my website, we're talking together. You can do it on the desktop, as you see there. You can also do it online. I mean, online. Well, yeah, that's technically true. It is online from your mobile device. It's private between us. It's accurate and up to date. And it's an easy communication tool from me to you and you to me. And I can schedule showings, and it just helps speed up the process. Let's talk about federal and state fair housing. Protected classes. The law prohibits housing discrimination based on the 7 protected classes: race, color, sex, religion, national origin, familial status, and disability. And in addition to that, California has additional protections: age, ancestry, sexual orientation, gender identity, gender expression, genetic information, marital status, source of income, immigration status, primary language, citizenship, military and veteran status. All of these things are protected. Why do I tell you that? I'll give you an example. When we're out and we're looking at houses, normally, and these are normal questions that buyers ask and may not even realize that what they're asking falls under the protected classes. So that's why we're having this conversation now. Questions like, is the neighborhood safe? How are the schools? Who lives here? Tell me about the crime in the area. Well, guess what? I cannot give you my opinion. Cannot. But what I can do is I can suggest third-party websites, other helpful resources that you can formulate your own opinion about a home or a neighborhood and its desirability. I may tell you, well, in this city, we are serviced by the Lakewood Sheriff Department. I recommend going to the website, or you may go visit them. They're right there on Lakewood Boulevard, and inquire about whatever information you'd like to receive. That way, you're getting this information firsthand, and you don't have to hear or worry about what Theresa said, blah, blah, blah. No, I will never make assumptions about where you want to live. And you're going to perform your own research, and you're going to communicate your preferences to me. We're going to talk about, are schools important to you? Is there a specific school district that you would like to be in? For example, if you have tiny babies, you may want to be close to an elementary school. But if you have children that are about to graduate high school, going to college, you may want to be close to the high school or the university or the college. We'll explore all of those things. Whatever's important to you, that's important to me. What about how far you want to commute? I don't know if I mentioned to you, but I am a retired registered nurse. And I used to work right at the VA Long Beach. It was 12 miles, 14 minutes from door to parking lot and back to the garage. That made me happy. I didn't want to drive far, but I have some buyers who, I get in the car and I put my music on, and I love taking that drive. So whatever works for you, we're going to figure it out. But what I do want you to do is consider the distance between work and home, and how long it takes you to get there, and what does that look like for you. All of those things are important. What size home are you looking for? How many bedrooms would you like? What's the size of the property you're looking for? Do you need a large lot? I had a client that wanted a large lot because she wanted to put a half-court basketball court there because her children play basketball, and they're going to continue on in their basketball world, possibly going into the professional league. So she wants them to go practice and play and train, all of that. What's the floor plan? What's open to you? Do you want an open floor plan? Do you want a closed floor plan? Do you want a single story, multi-level? Whatever you want to talk about that. Do you want a particular style? Do you want a rustic, traditional, contemporary? All of them. What amenities is important? Do you want a pool? Do you want a hot tub? Do you want a clubhouse? What do you want? Think about all those things, and we are going to work together and talk about all of them. What's your motivation? What are the reasons that you've decided to purchase a home now? What's the timing? Were you flexible on your timing? Did you just relocate to or from a certain city or transferring to or from a certain job and you need to be there by a specific date? What's your pricing point? Have you started talking with a mortgage professional? Is there anybody else, any other family members, best friend, financial advisor involved in the transaction? Whoever you want to be involved, the more the merrier. Location, talked about that a little bit. What areas of town do you prefer? Are you not sure? Are you open? Is there a specific area that you like to target? The home type, are you looking for a condo? Are you looking for a townhouse? Are you looking for a single family residence? Or are you looking for land that you're gonna build your own? You have lots of choices. Let's talk about single family versus condo living. In the single family, more private, you have your own yard, more space, detached, no monthly HOA dues, no rules, responsible for all your own exterior maintenance, and may come with deeded restrictions. If that ever happens, I'll let you know. Versus an HOA condo living style. You share an interior maintenance cost with the owners through your monthly HOA dues, exterior, not interior. No exterior maintenance responsibility, likelihood of having amenities, clubhouse, gym, basketball, tennis court, possibility of a close-knit community feel, possibility of more security, close to neighbors, no mowing or shoveling, rules or bylaws to abide by, there's a pet policy to follow, may restrict the ability to rent in the future, shared common area, reduced privacy, close living quarters, potential for special assessments, and may be unwarrantable. And we will talk about unwarrantable condos. Generally, that means that there's a condo, either their reserves are a little off, their insurance may be not enough, or they have more renters than owners. All of those things could potentially make the condo complex unwarrantable. And then, if that is the case, you have to have a special lender who specializes in that type of loans. Special assessments, the thing that's going on now is the balconies. All the balconies have to be reassessed, and if needed be, they need to be repaired. Well, if you have a lot of balconies in a large complex, that could be costly, which creates a special assessment. That special assessment is divided amongst all the residents, and it increases your monthly HOA fees until the assessment is paid. So think about that. Questions to ask if you choose the HOA community route: who handles what? It's important to understand what's included in the HOA fees. What specific exterior items are the responsibility of the owner? Who's responsible for the doors, the windows replacements, the shoveling, in case that's a thing? If you're in an area that snows a lot, that might be a thing. Are there any areas such as walkways that's not covered? Mechanical maintenance, the heater, the hot water system. Sometimes those things are not inside your unit. There is a condo that I sell a lot of. Their heating, air conditioner is up on the roof with all the rest of them, Just talk to you about special assessments, what are the rules, all of those things that we want to find out. Most of the time, you find out this information once you open escrow, because that's when the seller purchases or pays for the HOA documents to be sent to escrow to the new buyer. So remember that. Understanding loan, purchasing a home, as I said, like a million times now, is one of the largest financial commitments in life, and also one of the most stressful. Planning ahead, staying within your means, choosing a lender carefully can make things much easier. How much money have you saved? Will you be paying cash? Are you receiving a gift or taking money from your 401k? Will you finance the home? How much can you afford per month? Those are things that you have to know before, I repeat again, before we go out looking for a home. Where will the money come from to purchase your house? Okay? The cost of buying. Your home purchase includes down payment and closing costs. They are not the same. Down payment is your down payment. Are you putting 3.5% down, 5%, 10%, 20%, 50%? How much money are you putting down? That is your down payment. Closing cost is in addition to your down payment. Closing cost includes the property appraisal, your home inspection, all these things on this list, your property survey, the origination fee, the mortgage points, the processing and underwriting, the administrative, the rate lock, title, escrow, recording. If you're buying a condo, the HOA dues, the notary fees, you may have to get a flood certificate, flood certification fee, property tax reserve, homeowners insurance, a 1-year policy, flood insurance is applicable, mortgage insurance, loan fees, depending on the type of loan, prepaid interest. This is not an exhaustive list. And now also it's going to include my value and my fees will be included in this list. And I told you there are ways I'm going to have that conversation about how to handle that, but I have to repeat that it's going to be your responsibility. Here's an example. Your earnest money, which is your initial deposit, essentially comes from your down payment that you've already planned to put down. Here's an example. For example, you're offering $500,000 on home and you plan to put down 5% down payment, which is $25,000. At the time of your offer, you submit your offer to the seller and you offer to put some of the earnest money up front. This could be a portion of the 5%. It could be 2%, 3%. In this example is 2% to the seller that goes to escrow, $10,000 placed in escrow and credited toward you at closing. At closing, you bring in the remaining $15,000 for your down payment and whatever this closing cost is, you bring that to. And we'll go over all of this at the time. These are some of the things just pulled out that was on the previous page. Interest rates, what are the current rates? What interest rates are you being quoted? We talked about your down payment. How much have you saved? How much will you need? Points, we talked about that on the other page. A point is 1% of a mortgage. Should you pay discount points to reduce the loan interest, or should you buy down the rate in simpler terms? You're going to talk about that with your lender. Origination fee, it's a charge levied by the lender for underwriting a loan. Typically, sometimes it's 1% of the loan amount, but you're going to talk to the lender and get this information directly from the real estate mortgage professional. I'm just giving you examples. Type of approval letters, very important. Pre-qualification, what you did was have a conversation. It's a conversation of your income, your saving, your assets, your debt. It doesn't include employment verification and typically does not include a credit check, pulling your FICO score, all of that. It's just a conversation. Sellers don't necessarily like the pre-qualification because it's just a conversation. They need concrete understanding of your financial profile. That's why we like this side, your pre-approval side. What happens on this side, usually you are fully underwritten by the underwriter. They have pulled your information. They have your W-2s, they got your pay stubs, they got your tax returns, they got your bank statements. They've reviewed and verified your assets. They've ran your credit. They've done everything that they need to do, and they have a complete financial package for you. This makes you a qualified, ready, approved, ready to go buyer. We love this. You know how much you qualify, you know the rate, we know whether or not there are potential issues, we know whether you need to provide additional supporting document, we know everything before we write that first offer. That's the one we want. We kind of hit a little bit on the types of mortgages, fixed rate mortgages, a mortgage where the interest rate remains the same, conventional loans, a fixed 30-year mortgage where the limits is set by FNMA and FDMC. I know, ask your lender. I did that on purpose. I want you to have something to have a conversation with your lender. I'm not going to tell you what that means. Jumbo mortgage, it exceeds the limit, usually higher, slightly or higher interest rate. Adjustable rate mortgage, where the rate changes. FHA mortgage usually requires less money down, but they have tighter guidelines. Can you qualify? Can the property qualify? And then balloon loans. I'm just going to tell you, don't do that. Don't do anything like that, okay? Do's and don'ts. Let's talk about it. Before, during the home buying process. Do pay your bills on time. Continue saving money. Stay in contact with your lender. Stay in contact with your attorney. If you're working with an attorney, comply with the lender's request timely. Don't quit your job. Don't switch careers. Don't miss bill payments. Don't pay off any loans without talking to the lender. Don't make any purchase on credit. Do not co-sign for anybody. Don't move money around. Don't make any large cash deposits. Don't buy a bunch of furniture before you close. Don't close any credit accounts. Don't do it. Don't do it. Those things on the other page are so important. I wanted to pull these out to make sure to repeat what I said so you know how super important this is. Don't change jobs. Don't make major purchases or run up credit cards. Don't take out additional loans or open new accounts. Don't transfer balances. Don't spend any money set aside for closing. Whatever you told your lender you have, keep it there. Don't change banks or co-sign, and don't withhold anything on your loan application, okay? That was worth repeating twice. Here are 3 recommended lenders if you do not have any of your own. All 3 of them are highly effective and experts at what they do. Now that we've done all that pre-work and you've done everything, you're ready to go. We have your buyer representation agreement. We have your pre-approval. I have sent your buyer representation agreement that we have signed. I've sent it to the lender so they know what our agreement is and they can work that into your financial numbers. Let's start the buying process. There's more to finding the right home than most people think. Will we be here with you every step of the way? Of course we will. It's most important that we work through the process together. We have open communication from start to finish. The first 2 steps are the most important. We recommend that you solidify your relationship with us with our buyer agreement so that we can act fiduciary, and that you meet with your lender before we start looking at homes. Remember, I told you, these are things that we have to do first. Find your agent. Woohoo, you found it. That's me. Yay. Meet with your lender. If you haven't already, I gave you 3 options on the previous slide. Apply for pre-approval. We know why we want pre-approval versus pre-qualification. Begin home criteria selection. We're going to talk about that. And we're going to view homes and make choices. We're going to begin viewing homes, narrowing down your options until you find the right one. It doesn't matter how many homes we see. The goal is for you to take your time and be happy with your selection. Don't ever feel rushed. Focus on what matters. Location. Look closely at the floor plan. Does the home meet your storage need? Vacant homes can be difficult to know where your furniture will fit. So don't write them off before measuring. If you got a special table that's coming with you, measure the table, measure the room. We can go back and do that during your home inspection. We can, if you want to, when we're doing our tour of the homes, bring those measurements with you. Kitchen and bathroom can be pricey to renovate. If you're not doing the work yourself, I just recently had my 2 bathrooms remodeled, and the exciting part was I got to fix it up just like I wanted to. The hard part for me was your whole house is in disarray and everything is in a shambles and you just wanted to be hurry up and finish. But once it's finished, you're in love. So consider all those things. Home inventory is low, so be prepared to move quickly. The right home will always find you, and you know it almost as soon as you walk through. I'll know it when I see your face light up. Look at the days on the market. You're going to look at the original price, and sellers sometimes, not all the time, but sometimes they may be a little more flexible on price and terms the longer the home is on the market. It just depends on the seller's motivation. Unusual homes can be nice, but if you have to resell soon, you might not want to buy the home that has, I don't know, a bird paradise in the middle of the living room that's built in from floor to ceiling. I'm making that up, but you know what I mean. Buy something if you need to resell that's resellable. Here's some of the other ways that I assist. I accompany you to all the open houses. So that way, this will leverage our opportunity to get our question answered with the listing agent. And if on any occasion I'm not able to attend, I call the listing agent. I make that connection and let them know you're coming. Sometimes just having a conversation with the listing agent and communication goes a very long way. There sometimes for sale by owner properties are another option. If you come across one, just call me, let me know. I'll connect with the seller, we'll investigate the property, and we will work out the details. New construction, they're a great way of getting a brand new home that no one else has lived there. What I'm going to tell you about that is anytime you want to see new construction, we attend together. So that way you are ensured that you have someone to advocate for you. Some new construction have rules that if you go and I'm not there, then you lose that opportunity to have your own professional representation, and you are at their mercy because I wasn't there when we first walked through the doors. So together, remember, we're locked at the arms, we're joined at the hip, we go together. Do not go by yourself. We've talked about everything, we've shopped around, we found the house, and we're ready to make the offer and your deposit. We're going to write the offer. We're going to ask you to provide proof of funds to me. Yes, you have given it to the lender. If you have done that fully underwriting pre-approval, then the lender is going to give me what's called a desktop underwriting. And guess what? Your proof of funds and all of that is right there. So all I need is those 2 documents from the lender. Your earnest money deposit, we talked about that before, 2 to 3%. You're going to be ready to deposit that when the offer is accepted. Usually from 1 to 3 days, I like to deposit it within 24 hours. That shows you're serious and you're ready to go. We're gonna open escrow, the title company opens escrow, and escrow is gonna send you wiring instructions to wire your earnest deposit. When you get those instructions, you are going to go to the bank. You're going to send and talk to the teller. You're gonna call escrow and you're going to make sure that you got the right numbers before releasing your wire to escrow. You're going to continue meeting with your lender, continue the loan process. Your lender is going to order the loan appraisal. We are going to hire a home inspector. Hiring a home inspector helps to prevent unpleasant surprises later on. We're going to get an inspection report. We're going to review it by all parties, including the seller and their agent. Here are some general home inspections. Depending on the property that you buy, depending on what the original general inspection says, you may want to get a few other inspections, whether it be plumbing, electrical, termite, chimney, fireplace, whatever it is, now is the time. We have a certain amount of time to do all of our home inspections. As the buyer, be an educated buyer and get all the inspections that you feel you are comfortable with. And remember, I'm right there to help you. Let's talk about some common contingencies. Well, Theresa, what's a contingency? Contingencies are expectations from either party, buyer or seller, that are written into the purchase agreement that state what must be fulfilled in order for the transaction to close. Not too bad, right? We talked about one of them, which was the buyer's home inspection. Second one is your loan approval. The third most important one is the appraisal. You may have a home that you need to sell. You know, there are many inspections. Another one is your home owner's insurance. You're going to start that early, but this is just a general idea of some common contingencies. Appraisal escalation costs. In a competitive seller's market, escalation clauses can be useful. It could be a useful strategy to win a bid in a multiple offer situation. It's not a guarantee, but if you're up to it, it could be worth a shot. An escalation clause works like this. For example, on the right-hand side here, you offer to the seller $500,000. However, if the seller receives an offer above $500,000, your offer includes the following escalation clause. Mr. Seller, I will offer you $2,500 above your highest offer, not to exceed $525 in purchase. So on the left-hand side here, your maximum price, $525. Your incremental increases is $2,500. If the seller accepts your offer, they have to provide proof of that other offer, that higher price. So for example, the higher offer came in at $510, and the seller would accept your offer at $512,500. It's an option, it's something to think about, and we will have a conversation with you and your lender to see if that's something in your best interest. I just want you to know that it's a possibility. Another possibility is the appraisal gap. When property was flying off of the market, appraisal gaps were used. An appraisal gap is the difference when the property is appraised for a lower value than the agreed upon price. That results in a gap in the two amounts. And if you're obtaining a mortgage, the lender is not going to lend you more than the property is worth. If you submitted a high offer because you really wanted to win that bid, and the buyer listed above the price, the listed price, there is a chance that the property may not appraise for that amount. In this case, the seller might say, hey, buyer, can you pay the appraisal gap? For example, if the appraised value comes in below the purchase price, and let's say it's $10,000 below the purchase price, seller says, hey, can you pay that 10,000? And you say, you know what? I love this house. I've looked at 1,000 houses. I don't want to look at another house. I want this house. And yes, I will pay that difference of $10,000. That's called an appraisal gap. Okay. Again, these are conversations that we're going to have together, and we're going to have those conversations with your lender to determine what's right for you. All right, so we talked about that. Title insurance, I told you what title insurance was. If I didn't, I'm going to tell you now. Home insurance, I told you, you're going to start early, and home warranty. Title insurance, this is a lender's title policy. It's required and handled by the lender. The lender's title insurance policy protects the lender from loss resulting from defects in the title, protecting their investment on the money that they're lending to you. As a borrower, you can purchase your own title policy. It's called an owner's title policy. An owner's policy protects your ownership rights to the home. You could shop for this coverage, or usually the seller provides it once we open escrow. That's part of your closing costs. Hazard insurance, I told you, start looking early. Shop for your homeowner's insurance. You're going to purchase a 1-year policy, and you're going to get this through an independent insurance carrier of your choice. Sometimes buyers will bundle between their auto and the homeowner's insurance. You may be required to get flood insurance and definitely a home warranty. Sometimes the seller will provide the home warranty, and sometimes to make your offer appealing, you can choose to pay your own home warranty. Home warranties, approximately $600, around in there somewhere. We've talked about the appraisal, why it's important. Now we're talking about the preliminary title report. The preliminary title report shows the chain of title on the property. It shows that the seller selling the property can sell it, that they own it. It also shows whether or not the seller has any liens or anything, back taxes, or anybody that want to tap into that property. That information is going to show up on the preliminary title report. Sometimes the seller will pay for a termite report. Sometimes they won't. Sometimes you may want one and you pay for the termite report. Either way, you get to review it. You're going to give escrow your insurance quote. You're going to complete your order for the insurance. We talked about why and how important it is. You're going to send all that information. You're going to continue working with your lender, completing your buyer, all the needs, complete termite work. That was any remaining items that was required by the lender. Now we're going to get ready, and we're ready to sign our loan docs. We've got the clear close from the lender. You're going to review all the loan docs provided by the lender, and then you're going to sign. Usually the loan docs will be sent to escrow. Escrow will prepare them. They'll set up an appointment for either you to come to the escrow office, or the notary will come to you. This is called, we're now starting the escrow closing. The seller is going to sign off the title deed, and it's going to go back to escrow, and they're going to hold all of that information until the loan funds are received. After you've signed your loan documents, now you're going to do your final walkthrough. This is just a preparation to give you an idea of what you're going to do. When you go to the closing table, that's what it's called in this scenario, which is either the notary is coming to you or you are going to escrow. When that happens, Make sure you got your photo ID. You're going to find out how much money do you need to wire for your final closing funds. They will give you that. You go to the bank, you do all of those things. If you haven't given them your homeowner's insurance information, you're going to give them all of that. You're going to sign everything. The lender is going to do what's called funding the loan. Sometimes, if you signed early enough, it could potentially fund in the same day. If not, it's going to fund on the next day. And then on the third day, it's going to record. Sometimes this could be a two-step process. Sometimes it's a one-step process, a 3-day process or a 2-day process. Then we're going to get to go and do our final walkthrough. This is a time that if we ask for repairs, we're going to see that the repairs have been done. We're making sure the house looked exactly like it did the first time that we saw it. This is an opportunity to check out anything that you may have missed. And by now the seller is either moving out or has moved out. We talked about the walkthrough. Your loan is going to fund. The document is going to record. What document is going to record is the title. Someone literally takes the grant deed and they go to the county recorder's office and they stamp it and they get a number and they call back to escrow with the confirmation number. Then escrow emails us. She says, congratulations, we have been confirmed and recorded. The escrow is now closed. Once that happens, you're going to get your keys. You're going to be able to move in. We're going to meet at the property. We're going to do our little dance, you know. We're going to just take pictures and we're going to be super happy. And you're going to get your keys and you're going to tell me how wonderful and great I am. And I'm going to say, oh, thank you. I couldn't have done it without you. And it's going to be amazing. Now, what I want you to consider is the cost of home ownership. We did all that planning, but now it's like, okay, it's your house now. What we do? You can't pick up and call the landlord because it's yours. Your first mortgage payment is typically due 45 days after you close. So you kind of got that little break in there, you know? If you did an impound account, everything is impounded, so you're good. And the impound, the escrow is called an escrow account. They're going to pay your taxes, whatever it needs to be paid on your behalf. Sometimes you might get a little supplemental tax bill and you're like, oh no, I got an impound account. Don't worry, just send that supplemental tax bill, send it to your lender, to the mortgage company, they'll take care of it. You know, you may be responsible now for water and trash and all your utilities, your home maintenance. If you bought a condo that has an HOA, you're going to be responsible for that. So just get ready. You know, especially when you close escrow. Remember, I told you, don't go crazy shopping while you're in escrow. Same thing, right after you close. Don't lose your mind and start going buying all this stuff. Because you got to get situated and being ready to pay that mortgage that's coming up in 45 days. You got to see how that's going to work for you. So just settle in, maintain, cruise, and then gradually you'll start doing the other things that you need to do. Next steps. I've talked to you a lot. Our next steps to getting started, we're going to complete the buyer representation agreement and disclosures. What's going to happen is I will send that to you electronically through DocuSign. You're going to look at it and it's going to contain everything that we've talked about. You're going to get pre-approved if you haven't done that already. We're going to start the house hunt. You're going to find the one. You're going to get the keys to move into your new home. You can find me on every social media there is. Facebook, Twitter, which is now X, Instagram, LinkedIn, Pinterest, YouTube, Google, all of these things. I am everywhere. Just Google me. Here is my QR code. You may scan the QR code. Here's my information, my email, my phone number. Please contact us. You won't find any agents that work harder for their buyers or more dedicated to service and professionalism than the agents at the M&M Team Realty. I am here to serve you. So with that being said, I hope you have found this video helpful. I hope I was able to teach you something. I feel that I was. I'm very confident that you learned a tip here or there. I'm looking forward to working with you, and I will see you real soon. I'm going to stop sharing my screen. And what I want you to do is, if you have not, I want you to click on the subscribe button, whether it's on this side or that side, wherever it is. Watch more of my videos. I love to give you helpful tips. So have a great day if you're watching in the daytime, evening if you're watching in the evening. Until next time.